Here's one example of using the HTML5 video tag and a bit of JavaScript to show either the video thumbnail if you've got a URL set for a video, or a standard you need to add a video if there's no URL set. I know on this record there's no URL set, but on this one there is. And then when you click this, you'll get your video. Now let's see. Let's start here. So here we've got your image. What I've done here is I've added static text control, and I'm not added any static text in here. Instead, I'm turning on this freeform layout. In the freeform layout, I can use the URLs that we've got for our data, so that's really great. So here's our video tag. I'm giving it an ID of my video, underbar, and a data ID. So that way I can give each grid row a unique ID, because the ID for each row will be unique, of course. One of the attributes of the video tag is preload. And if we say preload equals metadata, then I believe what that means is that the browser will not try to load the video, which is really good because you're running it from the alpha video player. So all we want is the metadata, which includes the thumbnail, and it's got some other information in there, but the thumbnail that we want. Another attribute is poster. This is a standard image that you can show either while a video is loading or before the play button is hit. And you can set its width and its height, that's fine. Now within the video ID we've got a source, of course, and we're setting the source in here. We're giving it the same unique ID, except my source this time with the data ID in there, and the source is going to be equal to the data.url. So we're going to pick up the URL directly from the database, so that's great. And it's type, you only had MP4 in there, so that's all I'm going to put in there. Now you can set a number of different sources in here for different types. So if you decide on more types, and you can just add those in. So that takes care of the freeform layout and getting things to look the way we want. But how do we get the default JPEG in there if there's no video? So we'll go to client side, events. We'll look at on-row render. So we're going to get the value of the current ID that we're rendering. So that's our ID, good. And we're getting the value of the current URL that we want to play. So e.row number is a default parameter that comes into this event. So as each row is rendered, we go and get the ID and the URL for the row that's being rendered. If the length of the URL is greater than 1, that means we're dealing with something that's real. If it's blank, then the length is equal to 1. So in this case, we're setting my video underbar the current ID to match the unique IDs that we set in the static text freeform field. And we're setting the poster attribute to nothing, so because this means that we have a real URL. And so we're setting the poster attribute to nothing. We don't want any default JPEGs showing up. And we're setting the source of my source ID to the current URL. So that sets up the URL. If it's less than 1, then the poster is going to be equal to the add pet video icon.jpg, and we're setting our source to nothing. So that's how we get either the default JPEG going or the thumbnail of the URL. And I think I missed something. Let's go back to the field. Now, when we're dealing with a static text field and a video, well, a static text field maybe and a freeform layout, I'm not really sure. But our on-click event does not work. Nothing happens for the on-click. That's probably because we're expected to put something in here. That's possible. I'm not really sure. So anyway, I did. What we've got in here, where is it? Oh, it's right at the end here. Great. So we're into our freeform layer. It was saying on-click equals open video player. And that's a JavaScript event. So let's go and have a look at that. Go to JavaScript functions. It's very, very simple stuff. There's our open video player. That's our JavaScript event. We're putting a set timeout here, and I'll explain that in a minute. But all we're doing is running an action called open video player. And the action is exactly what you've got going. Where's the actions here? Function declarations. There's my actions. So we've got our open video player action. So we're just opening a video player, and it's PVV video. So there's nothing special going on there. And the argument bindings are exactly the same. We're looking at URL. And that's that. Nope. So back to the JavaScript. So the only reason we're wrapping it in a set timeout, we're giving it 100th of a second, and that's to give, if I go back to live preview. Now if you're here and you just click on something, click on a row and then run the video, that's fine. But what if you're here and you just click on the video? That set timeout for 100th of a second just gives the grid a chance to catch up, make this row current so that we know what the URL is. That's all that's doing in there. And sometimes it loads and sometimes it doesn't. And I think that's just the nature of video. Whatever that was. Just try that again. Loads up pretty fast. And there we go. So that runs. I know, video's a little funny, so. And I think that's about it. So I'll shoot this component off to you, and that's just one way to do it. You might be happier just going and creating a JPEG out of the video using some server-side commands to pull the first frame out. That'll work just fine. But this is an interesting way to do it with just HTML5, the video tag, and JavaScript. Thanks for looking.